Hey, hello to my good peoples. I am Renee Williams, and I am glad, we are glad, we are clean. Man, the week is almost over, y'all. You know, I appreciate everybody that know how to say no, that know how to fight through, that know how to be an overcomer. I thank God for pushing our way through when the odds don't seem like it's good. I thank God for blessing me with new people, new friends. You know, I want to tell you something. You hear me? I want to tell you something. You ain't never got to use again. That's your choice. Your will. It's what you do with it. Let me give a shout out to the God of my understanding, who is blessing us every day, all night, where he take disadvantagement and turn it into possibilities. I thank God for never giving up on us. I thank God for allowing us to be able to be free for something that helped us for so long. And we finally found a new way to live. And when I say that, I don't say that not to be true. I thank him. I thank him for allowing doors to be open that was once closed on us. Thank you, God. My God, I thank you so much. I see my Auntie Wanda's on here. Thank you, Auntie. You know, shout out to all the treatment facilities all over the world. I thank you for the ones who come in. I thank you for the ones who go out. I thank you for the ones that know the difference. I thank God for the ones that found the difference in themselves. I thank God for that. Give a shout out to all the treatment facilities, you know, all over the world. It's a treatment facility all over the world. It's an inpatient all over the world. It's outpatients all over the world. It's wonderful therapists all over the world. Wonderful counselors all over the world. You couldn't be a good counselor if you had not been where we were. And that means a lot. It meant a lot to me when I came in. You know, 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous, Miss, thank you. Thank you for accepting us in, and nobody is never alone. Thank you. We're going to be talking about the pain that taught us peace. Hey, Tyra Thomas, the pain that taught us peace. It's kind of deep for me this evening. The pain, you have to listen to what this. Oh, let me know. Let me not forget about the ones, our loved ones that's gone on. Hey, Kyle Cleve, Kyle Cleve. Good to see you. Good to see my Tyra Thomas. Good to see you too. Let me talk about our loved ones that's gone. We don't never want to give up on them. just because they're not here don't mean they're not spiritually here. And that's just my belief. That's just how I feel. You know, I think about the ones that was left behind, you know, that had to find the way to go on without their husband or their kids or their sister or their auntie or their grandmama or their granddaddy. You know, thank you for allowing yourself to feel and grieve, but still move on and carry on and keep your loved ones alive. Shout out go to you. Shout out for anyone that's celebrating clean time. You know, whether it's 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months, 9 months, a year, multiples of year, or just for today. You know, I wanted to talk about this one right here because this right here faces us when we come in with any kind of addiction. But we're talking about drug addiction. But we got a lot of other addictions that we never took accountability for. And I had a lot of them. I thought it was just drugs. You thought it was just drugs. But once you come into treatment, you found out that it's a lot of different hidden addictions. And I thank God. I want to talk about the pain that taught us peace. So what do you mean, the pain that taught us peace? Had we not went through breakups, had we not went through letdowns, had we not went through disappointments and hurt, through all the things that we went through, the addictions and you know, the hidden bottoms and, you know, not liking ourselves and disrespecting ourselves and hurting other people and to get what we want, not looking at the part we play. Thank you for the pain. Because, see, the pain made us visit something else. Come on, stay with me. Stay with me. Pain made us visit humility, dysfunctional, behavior problems, letdown problems, can't get it together, keep messing up over and over and over again. The pain. Some of y'all don't know about that, but I think everybody on here know about pain. You had to know about pain in order to be where you at today. Because see, pain, you know, pain taught us something. And it taught us to accept some things that we had never accepted before. This addiction, I hate this disease. This addiction is very painful. Don't ever think that it ain't because we make it look well. Because we make it look like everything is okay. We had to get to that place to get to there. We all had to get to there. You know, I want to talk about pain because pain took me to many different levels before I got to peace. What do you mean? Well, had I not, or had you not, went through bumpy roads and went through hurt, went through denial, went through abuse. Whatever pain we went through, it took us to some different levels. Let's talk about the levels it took us before we got to the peace part. What levels, Renee? What did it take you to? What levels did it take? It took me You know, I saw a guy. She was a girl. And I mean, this was like 4 o'clock in the morning. And I saw this girl, and she had all these tattoos on her face. And she had been raped and violated, you know, and she had a daughter. And I remember her saying, Mama, you know, you wasn't here, and I didn't know how to tell you. I didn't know how to tell you how they kept taking advantage of me. I didn't know how to come to you, Mama. You know, but, you know, I mean, I was literally in tears at 4 o'clock this morning because I've been what that young girl's been to. And that brought me to this point, the pain that taught us peace. And I sat there for a long time writing to this young lady and tell her she got to get some help. What she was doing was asking for help here right on Facebook. That hurted me because I went there. I remember what she was talking about. The pain that took us to a point in our lives that we didn't care no more. Yeah, for the ones who ain't been there, then you can't even relate. You wouldn't even understand. But the ones that's in, you know, what kind of pain? Pain of just hurt, pain of depression, pain of anxiety, pain of rejection, pain of denial, pain of detachment. Oh, it's a whole lot of more pain. It's a whole lot of more pain. Hey, Michelle, how you doing? Good to see you. It's a whole lot of pain. We know how to dress it up and fix it up and make it look like, you know, that nothing is wrong, you know, that we are okay, you know. But, you know, I see a lot of people today, you know, they need a validation on who they are. Somebody say something on here, you got to validate. No, it's not like that. You're not. See, to me, I don't have to validate to nobody. Because I already went through the steps to learn how to get peace. See, people look for that validation. I did. When I was using, when I was manipulated, when we were lying, when we was taking, when we was stealing, when we were abusing ourselves, when we was I mean, we went through some self-hurt. And that's why I tell everybody, the pain that taught us peace is different levels of pain that got us to the place that we had to reach to get to peace. We didn't get there all at one time. We didn't get there all at one time. I know I didn't. I had to climb so many steps. You got to climb so many levels to get to the step to where you can learn what peace is really about. You can't buy peace. Come on, Renee. I thought I could buy peace. I really did thought I could buy peace. No, peace is something that you have to learn to enjoy. You have to learn to accept. You have to learn accountability. You have to learn through stress, and you have to learn to, why did you have to go through these many stages in life to find peace? I wouldn't care how many stages I had to go through, long as I made it to understand what peace is all about. Peace is when somebody hurt you and you can forgive them. You can hold on to it for a long time. But peace is when you can hold your head up and say, okay, enough is enough. You know, no, enough is enough. It's time for me to get some peace in our lives, because we done went through the journey of the pain. Pain taught us. Pain taught us when we got slapped. Pain taught us when we went into treatment. Pain taught us when, you know, we neglect ourselves. Pain taught us when you abused us. Pain taught us when our own kids hurt us and put us in a place that we didn't even see coming. We talking about pain, y'all. Pain is something that is meant to be. People say, well, if that was God, God wouldn't let us go through pain. Yeah, he would. Only the strong survive. Why are you exempt from pain? We all gonna have to face that one day, one time or another. And I faced it more than I would love to have faced it. But it took me to a level to where I learned about how to get peace. You know, I used to worry. My peace wasn't there. I used to try to figure out why people say the things that they do and why people don't like you. I had to get to that stage of pain to understand that only person that can hurt me, if we allow it, is us. People think they're doing something when they hurt us, and they know all we done did for them and all that we done put out to the universe for them and all the pain we done went through and the sleepless nights and the staying up and even going to jail. That was a whole nother level of pain back in my younger years. Because I hadn't reached a level yet to get me to the road to peace. And if you ain't got your peace, if you don't have peace in your life, you ain't got nothing. You got the money, you got the cars, you got the houses, you got the clothes. But there's so many levels you have to go through pain in order to understand how to get to peace. I don't like pain. Who like pain? I don't like pain. But pain comes in order for us to look at ourselves and go through pain, death. Man, I used to hate to go to a funeral. I could not understand why the life of me, they would say rejoice at a funeral and cry at a birth. I did not understand that. Until the pain itself taught me what it meant. What it meant was when you go to a funeral, it's all done on this earth. It's all done. The life you live spoke for you. You don't have to go through all the hurt or all the humiliation that brought you to pain, and now you're no longer here. And I had to get to a point where I had went to some funerals and I would just literally sit up and cry, especially when it's a baby or a kid, But then it says rejoice at a funeral because they don't have to suffer no more. They don't have to go through many levels of pain to find their peace. Now they're at peace. And that made sense to me. Our addiction took us to a whole nother level. Pain. When I look at how little bitty things in our lives, come on, Renee, little bitty things in our lives, crossroad we had to take, like got a purse, but at a time in my life when I was in pain, I didn't even have $1 in my purse, in my wallet. All I had was the stability to know that I needed to change. Or go in my pocket and couldn't even find a quarter. because of my addiction. You know, I told y'all, you know, every time I look, people think you know, you must know when I say something that is truthful, that, you know, when I go in the bathroom and, you know, all the rolls of tissue paper, when I didn't even have one. Not one roll. Not no money to buy a roll. The pain, every time the little bitty things remind me of the struggles and the pains we went through. Something in your life gonna remind you of that struggle. Something in your life gonna remind you of that pain. Something in your life is gonna take you through a step to where, man, I had to climb multiples of steps on this one to understand, to get to peace. What you mean, Renee? Come on. Yeah, because we are good hiders. And good hiders become good drinkers. Good drinkers become good addicts. Good hiders, through pain, become good stealers. Rejection. People that's been rejected, they know how to hide it well. They know how to hide it well. And I found in my life that when a person don't love me, that's when I really have to start loving myself. When you sit down and you wonder why somebody did this, and I remember that level, I remember that pain, I remember that night, I remember that many nights and many days. I remember that. But the pain that taught us peace is something that we must go through in order to get to peace. Now, why? I don't know why people think that's, you know, it was hard. It was really hard for me to get to the level where I'm peaceful now. And when I tell people that, you know, they look at me and they say, "Oh, I can see it." No, you might can see it, but I'm talking about a peace that I can feel. That I'm okay with every decision I make. I'm okay with every surrender I had to surrender on. I'm okay at whatever level that we had to make some decisions on. Man, it took a lot of pain. Ooh, I wouldn't wish addiction on nobody. Hey, Miss Maddie, good to see you, honey. On nobody. Get into a place in our life that pain took us to many different steps. Why do we have to go through pain? If we never went through pain, we would never learn a lesson. And every lesson going to teach us how to get to peace. Anger with somebody did something to me. Angry with somebody gave me something. Angry somebody cheated on me. Pain. I'm talking about, see, these are all different steps of pain. But one thing I know, the pain that endured me more than any pain at all is when I didn't have peace. For somebody to get older and we can sit back and look at how many levels of what we went through when we was in that pain of addiction, or in that pain of lying, or in that pain of stealing, or in that pain of denying our own self, be true to thyself. When we look at all that, it taught us something valuable. It taught us to understand what it is to have peace. And I'm so glad that I was able to go, or you was able to go through the struggles of pain And it's all type of pain. Don't not get it twisted. It's all type of pain. Pain of not letting go. Pain of keep giving your own self pain. Pain of trying to fit in when you get in. Pain of trying to be what everybody wants you to be. Pain of losing your house. Pain of not being able to pay your bills. Pain in the body of emotional feelings and pain of pain of stress. Pain of not letting the brain shut down. It's all types of pain. But if we don't endure pain, how will we know how to feel when we get to peace? Pain we must go through. If it ain't addiction, it's going to be some other kind of pain. Pain helps us get closer to the God of our understanding. Pain put us in a direction that we have to look at ourselves and understand, why did I have to go through that level? Why couldn't I just skip that level and jump to this pain or this pain? Well, it's all type of pains. Pains of not being able to understand somebody that you love. Pain of not even want to be bothered with nobody. That's pain too. That can be painful too. We done been hurt so much that we get okay with just being with the God of our understanding in ourselves. I love it when a person say, when you find a peaceful person, now hear me good, even in recovery, you find a peaceful person and they okay with being alone, or they okay with being to themselves. They don't need nobody to validate, them no more. They validate themselves. You don't need, every time somebody say something, you got to jump right in it and defend that conversation or defend what that person said. I don't have to do that. I think the first time I ever got on here and said something like that, because I was full of pain, but yet at peace. But not at peace for the pain that the Nolan Well boy. That was the first time in many years I got on here and I couldn't hold it no more. And see, when we go to different levels, when we have to watch our addiction, we have to watch our mood swing, we have to watch where it takes us, we have to watch our mentality of what we let come in and what we let go out. I like it. You think I'm lying. People think I'm lying. I like it when people look at me like I'm crazy. I like it when you counted me out and I counted myself back in. I like it when you thought that it was over. I had to learn what peace was to tell you that truth. We had hurt ourselves so much until it ain't even funny. Everybody that I know that went to recovery could be a good author of telling their story of what pain or what they had to go through to find peace. And now that I found peace, I don't want nothing to erupt it. I don't want nothing to come in that's going to upset me. I don't want nothing to allow me to get off of my mood swing and get into something else. I'm just okay with that. And pain taught us how to connect better. Come on, Renee. Yeah, it did. Pain taught me to get a personal relationship with the God of my understanding. Pain brought me that. Pain drew me to that, to God of my understanding. Pain took me to a lot of levels. That's why I said we have to go through a lot of levels of pain in order to find peace. And some of us die in this world, never find peace. And I didn't want to be the one that die in this world and never know what peace is. I ain't talking about just a little peace. I'm talking about a lot of peace. I'm talking about peacefulness every day in my life when ain't nothing is taking me off my square like it used to be. I thank God for the pain. Why you thank God for the pain? Because had I not went through the pain, I wouldn't have never taught me how to get to peace. And a person that ain't at peace wouldn't even know what I'm talking about. Being a recovering addict. You know, I had to go through that pain of drinking every day to understand what level that took me to connect with the God of my understanding. I had to get through the pain of wanting to do crack and cocaine and every other drug that made me feel good. In order, all that was pain. I created all that pain. I decided not to stop the pain. I let the pain grow. We let the pain manifest. We keep on letting the pain hurt us over and over and over again. Until we start realizing what level of pain that we didn't need to endure no more to get us to a place called peace. You hear me? And people don't know. I sit up here and I look at people in the meeting, you know, always gotta validate. See, that was me. I guess I'm speaking on that because you don't always, if somebody throws something out there, you don't always have to be the one to answer back. And when I stop answering back, then I start finding peace. When I stop letting what people say get to me, then that let me know I was in a whole nother level. I was in a different level. Because them kind of things kept manifesting pain for me. So I don't get caught up in that no more. I learned how to be quiet. It took me a long time to learn how to be quiet. That was a different kind of pain that I had to find peace in. Learning how to be quiet. Or learning how just watch. Just watch. Don't say nothing. Just watch. And every level that you can go through and you do that is getting you closer to understand what peace is really about. Some people's have to be seen. Some people's love to be on Front Street. Some people's, no matter if they're wrong, no matter if they're right, they love to not be not right. But they ain't found peace yet. When you got to go through all the circles of hurting other people's and all the circles of, I told y'all I held on to something for a while. But once I got energized in the pain and understanding that the pain was going to bring me back to peace. And so I had to go through that emotional roller coaster for 3 or 4 months. Because I was in pain. And I ain't talking about physical pain. I'm talking about mentally pain. I'm talking about mentally eruption going on in the brain of how people can, hurt peoples and think they right. How you can look and see that the pain sometimes you can't see is the pain that somebody can feel. And while we in that pain that taught us peace, in that pain we lost ourselves. Because see, I remember being in that pain. I remember sitting up all night in pain drinking and just drinking. I remember after I drank, I still wanted to get high off something else. I remember that pain. I remember, going to the bank to get some money out and I don't have none. I remember that pain. I remember losing my son and have to bury my son and my mother. I remember that pain. I remember how I abused myself and set myself out there in the worldly world and slept in places that I knew I didn't have no business in just to get one more. I understand that pain. I understand that the obsession of my mind tells me I know I don't need to use, but right now I want to use because that's the only thing that can help me out through this pain. All different levels of pain. I remember how I'm in pain and sitting up and drinking and looking at the walls and talking to the walls and thought the walls was talking back at me. I knew that pain. I knew that pain. I knew that pain of hating somebody because they did me wrong or they hurt me so bad. I didn't get to that level to understand that kind of pain, so that kind of pain grew. I remember I said different levels of pain will take you to different levels of steps before you would even to understand what peace is all about. Addiction was painful. That was a pain that I kept doing to myself, to you. Yourself, you did the same thing over and over. Should nobody tell you you need to stop. When you're doing it, you already know we need to stop. Should nobody force you to want your recovery. You either want it or you don't. Should nobody force you to look at your pain and analyze your pain and what have you got out of that pain. See, when we go through pain, we get something out. We get an understanding. We get some acceptance. We get some accountability. We get some emotions. We get some feelings. And once we go through all them different emotions that we go through, and then here comes another pain. Here's a different type of pain. Okay, now here's another pain. Here's a different type of pain. People don't realize how many stages in our life of pain that we go through before we can even identify being at a peaceful place. Yeah, if I had knew now what I knew then, life would have been a little better. But see, what I realized, it wasn't meant for me to know then what I know now. It was meant for me to go through the pain in order for me to get closer with the God of my understanding and help him to let him help me make some better choices. You know, let me live better. Let me understand the disease of an addiction. Let me understand my own evil thinking, my own right mind. There's a lot with that pain that goes on. Now somebody, but through the pain, God was still seeing the strong ones, you and me. He knew it was a place in our lives that we was going to see our strength. We was going to see our motivation. We was going to see our hope that was going to bring us to a different step in our life. He always carried us. He never left us alone. Lessons. Let me tell you about this pain. Now, I love this one. Lesson can't be taught. You hear me? Now this got me. Lessons can't be taught. You have to learn through them. You have to go through them. Can't be taught. Thought everybody was our friends. We learned the hard way. That's pain. Real friends stay when the fun time disappear. Did you hear me? Real friends stay when the fun time disappears. Disappointment. Hurt taught us We get wiser, we get greater, we get wisdom, and, sometimes, like I said, the little bitty things like, standing on the corner and wish I had 50 cents when I know I just blow $500 on getting high. Pain. Or I done pawned my car and now I find myself walking. Pain. Living in my own head was causing me pain. Until I had to learn to get out of my head and find some solution and look at the disease of an addiction. The disease of an addiction, keep you in a ball. And when you in that ball, you bouncing it. You trying to bounce it, but it ain't bouncing back. And people to me with hinder agendas, they don't have peace. I didn't have peace. Come on, I'm gonna tell you straight up, I didn't even know what peace was. I didn't know that I had to go through all the different types of pain in order to find some peace. And it wasn't in no bottle. It wasn't in no drugs. It wasn't in no stealing. It wasn't in no lying. It wasn't in no hating. It wasn't in abusing me. You had to find peace within yourself, how to let go of different types of pain. Some people just stay in pain. Some people are clean. And they still enduring in the pain. Somebody say something, there you go. Boom, 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 boom. That was me. Don't let me accept. That was me. But now somebody say something, and if I don't feel that you worthy for my peace, then I can shut up. I can shut up. Because see, the God of my understanding, that I know he take care of all his kids. And he take care of all of us in different ways. He have to discipline us to look at our pain and see what part that we play in our pain. And I played the biggest part. I played the biggest part over and over again. Until I asked for help, I could not understand what peace was. Until I surrendered, I could not understand pain until I learned how to let go of something that had control over me, my thought, my mind, and my spiritual part. Can't find it in no drugs. You can't find it in no, in no bottle. All it's doing is just tearing that body up and creating more evil thoughts. And you just can't win. You can't win. When you got to have a drink every day, you got a problem. When you got to have some drugs every day, you got a problem. When you got to smoke a joint every day, you got a problem. When you got to drink cough syrup every day, you got a problem. When you walk into a store and you want to buy all the cough syrup that got the acetaminophen in it that going to make you feel good and sleepy or drunk, you got a problem. That's a whole different other type of pain now. But the greatest pain was not letting God get in. That was the greatest pain for me. You don't know how much we struggle with our own mind. When we sitting alone and God is trying to prepare us and show us some things, and we still in denial. We still don't see it that way. We still buying you to love me. We still buying you to accept me. We still buying you to understand me. We still buying you to forgive me. Once I ask a person for forgiveness, or if I did something wrong, I'm done. But everybody ain't where I'm at. They haven't got to the level of pain that taught us how to get to peace. I used to do the same thing. That's why I can sit here and talk about it. Till addiction taught me a new way to live. Them steps taught me how to identify with my own inner feelings and how to accept that I'm an addict, and I need to understand that a recovering addict like me had a whole weight of pain that took me to the place to get the peace. Peace just ain't gonna come. You gotta go through some kind. You gotta buy some cars. You gotta buy many cars. You gotta go through many men's. You gotta go through many hurts. You gotta go through many failures. You gotta go through many letdowns. You gotta go through many thinking somebody is who they was and they really ain't. Come on now, come on. That's a good pain, because that's a pain that messed me up. That's a pain that that pain, when expectation on another individual, I don't have expectation on nobody else no more. Did you know going through a pain and level in your recovery, and you go through one hurt that you really didn't see coming, will last you a lifetime to not visit that pain no more? I ain't never visiting that pain. Whoever said that, I ain't visiting that pain. Well, I ain't visiting getting high. I ain't visiting you hurting me. I'm not visiting me abusing myself no more. I'm not even visiting to buy you to like me, to buy you to love me. I've been through that too. That's a whole different other type of pain. So we go through many steps in our lives. Nobody has to use unless they want to. Nobody gonna continue to stop unless they want to. Nobody have got to the point to where they understand the word pain take you to many levels. You know, some people, they do good until they get money. They do good until they get their check, and then they're on the roll again. So, I had to learn that I was on that road too. Every time I got money, every time I got paid, every time I got a check, I went on that binge where I just went to using and kept using and kept using. But I found something that's greater than using. I found recovery. I found recovery. I found some steps in my life that helped me get to this place to understand what pain meant and to understand where it took me to peace at. I'm at peace now in everything. I don't worry about nothing. I had told my friend today, the pastor, he came today and he got his house. Remember, I was telling y'all about it. He lived in Mississippi and he always stay here. And he told me last night, he said, no matter where I'm at, I'm getting up and I'm going with some peace at. And he always said, why can't I come to your house and be peaceful? I got 5, 6 kids here. Why do I have to get up in the middle of the night and leave just to come get my peace? I said, that's what I had to do. I had to leave many places and many peoples and many kids and many friends to get my peace. So I understood what he meant. And he'll come right here and get in that bed and lay down. And, he got up last night. I was cooking. I had a big Romans today. And I was cooking. I was in there throwing some of everything together. And before you know, I had 6 or 7 pots. I remember the pain of that too. I remember the pain of not having no food to put in no pots. I remember that too. So every little miracle is an understanding that we went through some pain on that. Why did, when I started using, why did I sell all my beautiful shoes that I paid good money for? So now, when you come and you see all these shoes I got, it's some pain in that. Because I remember every pair of shoes that I liked that I sold it to get one more. So when I look at my life now, when you look at your life, don't you be going through life and say, I remember that. Oh God, I remember when I was in that pain. That was in 2016 or 2012. I remember that, God. I remember I was in a painful place. So little bitty miracles and little bitty things that show up in our lives is meant to show up to let us be reminded of what pain we had to go through to get to the word and the findings of peace. Addiction was very painful. It was very painful for me, man. Every day that I wake up and every day that I wake up and I got a pocket full of change in my purse. That was a painful thing for me because it was a time I didn't have no change, no nothing in my purse. I had drank it up, smoked it up, fired it up, or whatever you want to call it. I am grateful for every little bitty miracle, even for the ones that I can't see yet, even the ones that God don't allow us to see. But God is working it out for you, no matter what you think, no matter how you hurting. God is working it out, but He can't work it out for you if you're going to use a bottle and drugs to get through it. You got to move out the way and let God work things out and put peoples in your life and put you in a different situation so you can get to where He wants you to get to, so you can understand how pain can draw you to learn how to get some peace in your life. Yeah, I just, I live my life on pain. No lie. Drinking every day, using every day, gotta lie every day, gotta change a lie every day. Can't remember the same lie that I said yesterday. I was playing Russian roulette with my own life. But let me tell you something. For every step of pain that I had to go through, I'm grateful that I made it through. We lost ourselves in our pain. We did. Come on, we must be honest. We did. We lost our life. We lost ourselves in the pain of misery, dealing with drugs and alcohol, dealing with our own behavior, our own lewd, crazy thinking that I did some. I just did some things that every day is a good day for me. Even if a bad situation happened, it's still a good day for me because I didn't even have a good day when I was using. Getting high ain't a good day. Staying clean is a good day. And I know the difference now. I know I ain't never got to settle for less, and you don't neither. And if you want to change your life, ain't nobody going to change it for you. Your kids, your mama, your daddy, your sister, your brother. Can't nobody change nothing for you. Your destination, your addiction. Can't nobody change nothing for you but only you. And I had to learn that. God will put right peoples in your life, and He'll take peoples out of your life. God will send you the right doctors. God will send you the right friends. God will send you the right teacher. He'll send you everything right in your life when you move out the way and let God work in your favor. You'll never lose, y'all. Y'all will never lose. Long as you turn it over to God. And see, I like turning things over to God because, see, when I try to take it and try to fix it and try to manage it and try to control it, it don't work in my favor. I should have just stayed out the way and just moved out the way and let God do the things that He do best. He bigger than I. He bigger than you, so He can manage more things. Do you know how powerful that man got to be to hear all our prayers and answer most of them? I thank Him every day. I get up out of my bed, I get ready to go to bed, and I say, God, you know what? You took me through a lot. You helped me get through a lot of different steps of pain in order to, it hurted too. And for some of y'all that's on here, it hurted. Some of us sometimes, all we thought our life was pain. We didn't know no good fun of being free from addiction, or free from our mind, or free from your negativity, or free from living in, the impossibilities to where we thought we can never do no better. But see, when God put right peoples in your life, and God started doing things, and God started removing the alcohol and the drugs, and God starts you to thinking about working on the steps and talking with Him more. And when you start interacting with God, all doors are open, and you can't even see them doors. That's what I love about the God of my understanding. Thank God for the 12 Steps of Narcotics Anonymous program. Thank God for the NA program. And when I tell you a grateful addict, I say that all the time because a grateful addict know they're grateful, so they're going to stay in gratefulness. They're going to start doing some things different. You might have to go away and come back. You might have to steal away sometimes and go back. But the greatest gift in that was you was able to get away and able to get yourself together, and you more stronger now than you ever been. I'm telling you, I'm more stronger now. I'm on fire now. I'm back. I got it back. I had lost it. People, I had lost some things. Even in recovery, you can be clean. And something deep and something hurtful can take you to a place, and you stuck on that for a few minutes. Because then you have to be careful, because that dirty thinking will come in to where you want to hurt somebody, where you want. And I had to tell God, hurry up and remove that. That was my old way of thinking. The pain got so great. I just wanted to do the things that wasn't godly to do. And ain't nobody worth that. Ain't nobody worth losing my peace over. My joy, your joy. Pain that took us to peace. Now, I'm grateful for that. I didn't understand why God gave it to me, but I understood it then. I understood it when I sat in my living room and I started going back and I'm thinking about every little thing in here, all my surroundings, some pictures, it was pain for me. Some bathrooms where I go to use the bathroom in was painful for me. Some tubs that I go take a bath in was painful for me. Some alleys that I walked through or drive through was a reminder. I remember that pain. I remember that drive through. I remember that alley, that alley. I remember the garage. That was pain. I remember behind a grocery store. That's why I don't like driving behind no grocery store. Many things happen behind the grocery store. I remember all them different steps of pain that we have to go through in our lives. But we don't have to stay there. That's what I be telling people. We don't have to stay there. When you choose to open up, when you choose to let go, when you choose to put yourself in an atmosphere where you can grow, when you choose to understand that you was a part of the problem, but you need to be a part of the solution. I'm a part of the solution now. I ain't a part of nobody's problem. Because as long as I stay away from problem people, then I can always deal with the solution. So I found a new way to live. And I thank y'all. I thank y'all for, I always try to be positive because it's so negative. It's so much negativity in the world. And I take every piece of thing that I thought was painful for me, but it was a blessing for me. Because had I not endured all these steps, or had you not endured all them steps of pain, you wouldn't even know what it was to be. You wouldn't even know what it is to be recovered. We all went through some hurt and pain. We all went through some rejection, and I just kept going. The pain kept getting greater and greater and greater in our lives. And I got tired. You know, when you get tired of being tired, you start doing something about being tired. If nothing changed, ain't nothing gonna change. Why you still the same way? Yeah. You might got 10 years clean, but why you still doing the things that took you to the drug of your choice? Why is you still got these behaviors and these attitudes? And you always gotta have somebody to talk to when they say something wrong to validate who you are. That was me. See, I don't never throw nobody. I'm telling you, all them behaviors and all them attitudes and all them self-worth things I thought about myself. And now that I'm around the God of understanding, and I don't use drugs no more, I don't drink no more, I don't take... Look, I'm in a good place in my life. I found some peace. And I work really hard. You got to work really hard, y'all, to get some peace in your life. I don't care what situation you're in. It can be a family situation. It can be a kid situation. It can be a letting go situation. It can be an understanding situation. It can be, you know, turning your life over and letting God come in. You're going to have to let somebody come in sooner or later, because pain going to take you there. I tell people all the time, when the pain get great enough, you're going to go to a whole nother different level of pain. You're going to go through a whole different level of pain when you keep using and keep using and keep using, or keep lying and keep lying, or keep, you know, want to be big shot, or keep want to be big seen. You know, you're going to go through a whole lot of, I just stay humble. You know, I never been in a humble place when I was using. You know, and now that I got clean and I understand this disease of an addiction, and I understand the way I think can be crucial to me at times. So I have to keep an open mind as to understanding my disease and how it's counting, and it can get very baffling in my life, and it can be very powerful and overwhelming for me to endure what I need to do. That's why I got to understand I got to steal away sometimes to get my peace back. And I love it that sometimes we got to steal away. You know, how many times did some people had to walk away from a painful situation, you know, walk away again from a painful situation? It was us, it was I. How many times did the pain kept getting greater because we didn't do nothing about the pain we was living in? And the more we don't do nothing about it, the pain grows, it gets greater and greater. So I had to understand that I had to learn how to depend on something greater than me, higher than me, powerful than me, the God of my understanding. I had to get a hold to him, because I couldn't do it by myself no more. You know, I'm tired of pretending, I'm tired of lying, tired of putting on these masks, tired of acting like I'm this and I'm that. And I had to get butt naked truthful to the word called pain. I had to understand. And I thank y'all so much. And if anybody ain't told you that they love you, tell them that Miss Renee says she love you. I always say that because everybody that comes on, and for the ones that comes on later, you know, sometimes I take time to reply. It'll take me 3 or 4 days to reply. Every phone call, every text, you know, but I try to do it. If it ain't nothing but thank you, I love you, I miss you. You know, anything that comes out of my mouth was real, because everything that used to come out of my mouth was unreal. So everything I say it with love and true meaning. That when I tell you I had to find some peace, sometimes you can be clean and still got to get away in order to get your peace back in state, back in your life. You got to go get it back. So sometimes we can lose that peace, but I don't like losing that peace because it takes me through many painful situations. So I just want to sit back and say, God, what did I do wrong? Why did I let this person in? Why am I still hurt? And God gonna give you all the answers you need so you can go back and pick up your peace and understand what peace really meant. Everybody ain't got peace. Because they got a title don't mean they got peace. Because you driving this, or you got this, or you on top of the, and people that's on top go understand what it is to visit the bottom. They might not stay there, but they got to understand to visit the bottom is a part of the pain, and the part of the pain is going to introduce you to peace. Sunday, y'all. We are on step 3. We made a decision to turn our will and our life over to the care of God as we understood Him. I have fun with this one because this number 3 is I can't, He can, so I let Him. Remember that. I can't, He can, so I let Him. We made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. We made, I can't, He can, so I let Him. So I let Him. That's a good step. I'm going to have fun with this one. I love this step. I love you all. Thank y'all so very much. You know, we are on step. We're going to close with, with the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I like that part. The wisdom to know the difference. Have a good weekend, y'all. I'll see y'all Sunday. Thank you, Miss Maddie. Thank you, Kyle Cleves. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Auntie Wanda. Thank you for anybody else's name that I did not call or cannot see. But I thank y'all. Y'all can be doing something else. Thank y'all for being a part of my process and me being a part of my own process with you all. God bless and you have a good night.